Think about an athletic team. What all teams have in common is a common goal. What Most of what we call a team in schools is not really teams. In most cases, it's what I would call a franchise. You have five second grade teachers. When they come together to meet, they may share ideas, they may work together, but when they leave and go back to their classrooms, each teacher tends to be individually responsible for reaching the goals of student achievement with their own classroom. If a science department were to truly be a team, it would mean that the person teaching biology knows that he or she is accountable for the success of students in a chemistry class. Teaching, I believe, is a team sport, and we need to create the structures for that teaming to occur. Consider how you would predict effectiveness from a team in other areas. If you were in the hospital, most folks would prefer to have a team of doctors with different specialties and background that was deciding their treatment. If you had a difficult legal case, you'd want to be working with an office that had a team of attorneys where you could draw upon expertise. Wouldn't it make sense that the same would be true in a school? If there were a group of teachers who had worked with different teachers who had all worked with the same student in different subject areas at a middle school or high school, wouldn't it make sense that that group of teachers coming together might be in the best position to provide for planning to gain the students' increased achievement? Or a team of teachers that worked with a group of students over several years, coming together and designing the learning plan for those students. Two examples that I have to illustrate this. I've worked with two struggling schools, elementary schools, that did a major turnaround in improving student achievement. And in both cases, the development of vertical teams of teachers who worked together, focused on the same group of students over a 3-year time frame, played a major role in that improvement happening. Equally, almost every time that I visited a successful alternative school, I find that teaming is part of the success, part of the reason behind student success. The students in those schools know that there's a team of teachers focused on their success. Most teachers have had very limited experience with working on effective school teams. So initially, I think instructional coaches can play an important role serving as the facilitators at those team meetings, assisting teams in having the necessary conversations for quality problem solving. Coaches can do observations in the classrooms of the team members and collect data that the team can then use in their decision making. As teams develop, coaches can play a role in coaching the team's teaming behaviors. It'd be very appropriate to have a coach observing a team meeting and then providing people with feedback on how they used active listening skills, how they questioned initial ideas that were shared and then improved those ideas. Lastly, there's a need to build a sense of team among the teams that are in a school. So, instructional coaches who have experience and connections with teachers across the school can connect grade level teams or department teams. I'm working with a school right now where a team is being formed, bringing together a CTE teacher whose students will be building CO2 cars for a racing activity. They're looking at setting up a meeting with the CTE teacher, a math teacher, and science teachers who work with the students, developing the possibility that students could do a journaling of their experience with building the CO2 cars. The science teacher could provide questions that the students are responding to as they're working through the project. And the English teacher could look at the journal turning in to a written piece that students produce. The idea that students could use this piece of work in those three different classes greatly encourages the student to see this as a project worthy of time that the student would invest to get a high level of quality because it's being recognized in all three of those spots. Those are interesting teams that I believe instructional coaches could build.